Hi, and welcome to my webcam. This is the conclusion of the Imperial March of John F. Williams. Mr. Williams used to be the Warner Robins City Councilman for Post 6, Warner Robins, Georgia, who is now sitting in Houston County Jail awaiting a trial for a cell phone that he tried to blame a homeless woman for stealing, for crying out loud. And also, he's going to federal jail for 14 months. So let's see how the Imperial March of John F. Williams turns out. In reference to the will, it is important to know that after the courts and Judge Janice D. Spires had ruled that the will was a forgery, Jim Elliott and the Williams appealed it. To this day, which is over a year since the June 4, 2010 order that is a forgery, the appeal has not been addressed in the court. Because Hank's health was deteriorating and because he moved to Florida with his new wife on September 9, 2010, Terry and Jeff Wilson got power of attorney to handle the case against John Williams. Around the same time, the Williams cut ties with Greg Holt and got a new attorney, Bo Salmon. According to Terry, Holt kept telling us that he is not a prosecutor. He is the type of lawyer that gets people off. Jeff interrupts, we want a barracuda, supposedly. So, we now have another lawyer. His name is Bo Salmon, Terry adds. We heard that he has fought the city before, and he is a bulldog. Also, Greg stopped communicating with me and Jeff after my dad moved down to Florida. We thought, you were like talking to us before, so why all of a sudden did you change? Fast forward a couple of months. With a mutual restraining order still in place, Hank's AT&T wireless phone bill shows that on November 15, 2010, at 4:25 p.m., John Williams called Hank. According to Terry, we walked in and my dad told us about it. He said, John called me. I said, what? He called you? My dad said, yeah, he was wanting to know how I was doing. I called the sheriff's department myself. The lady at the sheriff's department told me that if you look back at the restraining order, that there is no temporary or permanent on there. So basically, they can't do anything about it because they don't know what it is, interjects Jeff. They don't know if it's temporary or permanent, but the judge said it was supposed to be permanent. On December 2nd, 2010, Nathaniel Hank Sanders Jr. passed away at the age of 79. Now they are saying, well, that since he is gone, he can't testify to say that. But I said, well, it's right there indicating the phone record, states Terry. She has, John also contacted me on Facebook, wanted me to be friends with him on Facebook. If you ask me, that is against a restraining order too. Terry did supply me with a copy of and a proof of John Williams' Facebook friend request. When I asked John Williams about the request, he replied, I did not send a request to her. I don't handle my Facebook page. Elna also claims that she has nothing to do with it. I don't mess with Facebook. It is nothing but trouble, and I don't like it. Now moving along, we found that my stepmom turned over her beauty shop to John to run. He turned it into an S corporation. My dad did not know this until right before she passed, says Terry. Jeff asks, when you form an S corporation, regardless of profit or loss, you're supposed to report to your shareholders dividends or losses every year so that they can report them on their personal taxes. He turned it into a corporation in 2003. Up to the time his sister died and my father-in-law died, he never gave my father-in-law any statements to report on his taxes because John said, well, you don't need to worry about it. As long as we don't take no money out of the business, you don't have to report nothing. But the point is, that was something else he did, technically, illegally. he was supposed to put out, and I don't know the exact form, but you know, a 1099 type form, Terry asked. So if they had profits, what happened to those profits? Jeff agrees, right. And after they had losses, why couldn't my father-in-law been able to take those losses on his personal taxes? John also, if you know anything about S corporations, he basically made himself, his wife Elna, and Marjorie all shareholders in the corporation. If you read into an S corporation, as one person leaves the corporation, be it death or whatever, their share automatically goes to the remaining two. Technically, they took the son completely out of his mama's business. As you can see, his name is not on there, but I am sure they changed it since then. On July 16, 2002, John Williams got Marjorie to put him on the deed to the property. Hank did not find out until he got his tax returns, and he asked Marjorie why did she put John on the property. John reportedly told her that it would reduce her homestead exemption. That was not true because it was all based on my dad, her husband, mentions Terry. So my dad tried to explain to his wife that is a lie, and that you realize that if you pass, John is going to have part of the property. She explained it to her son in 2004, and they took John off the property. John got his name put on by telling her a lie, and my dad and I found out about it and told her, and they took him off the deed, Jeff comments. Here's the fun part. Notice the dates. And remember this, October 8, 2004. That is the date they took him off the property. The only way that you can take someone off the property is if everyone that has a share signs. Well, Dale Jackson signed via Cynthia Ramey, a notary public in Mississippi. The attorney, Jim Elliott, is the notary. Now look at the date on the forged will, October 8, 2004. That's the same date, right? And who notarizes it? John in Houston County. Terry adds, I found Cynthia Ramey on the internet. She's in Mississippi. I emailed her. Is this your signature? Yes, it is. Jeff continues. She is saying that Dale's in Mississippi, and John is saying they are in Warner Robins signing this on the same date. What needs to be brought up here is which one of these is false, okay? If Marjorie right there is her signature along with John, if they are all hanging out at Jim Elliott's office downtown, why doesn't Jim Elliott notarize this will on the same day? Terry and Jeff have continued to fight for what they believe is right. In fact, Terry promised her dad on his deathbed that she would get him justice. They continue to get the runaround from the courts in the city of Warner Robins. When I accepted his task to tell the Wilson side of this story, I told Terry and Jeff that I would approach it a fair and balanced way. I would not take sides until I heard the whole story. I contacted the others that were involved and gave them a chance to tell their side. Some declined, and others I had no luck of contacting. I did spend over an hour on the phone with John and Eleanor Williams. They gave me their side but had no paperwork to back up their claims. The Wilsons gave me an extensive interview and a stack of copies to back up their side of the story. Since I wrote this piece, John Williams has been indicted on the federal level. The indictment is related to the sale of a vehicle to the city's police department. 3 charges that he faces are extortion under the color of official life, false statements to a federal agency, and tampering with a witness. After listening to the Wilson story, the Williams story, and researching the recent history of John Williams, I have come to the conclusion that Mr. Williams has a lot to answer for. He is the epitome for what is wrong in politics and government. He is a miserable, sorry excuse for a human being, and because of that, he must be exposed and will be punished for his criminal activity. It looks as if the Williamsons will finally get justice. Although the wheels turn slow, it looks as if the gears have been shifted and the justice will finally be served. And in closing, I want you to know justice has been served. Mr. John Williams is now in Houston County Jail. He was tried and found guilty on all 3 charges at the federal level. He was sentenced to 14 months in federal prison, I think a year of supervised probation after he gets out. But he's in Houston County. They're waiting to take it to trial for the cell phone that he tried to blame a homeless woman who stole his cell phone. Also, I would like, if you want more of this story, go to the film.makingscene.com, and in the search box, search for the Imperial March of John Williams. This was an excellent story, and if anybody out there is looking at this and wanting to do a movie, this would be a great script. The author, again, is Anthony B. Harris. This was loaded at makingscene.com.